A 2024 study mentioned that 72% of people have been ghosted at least once. And it's not just dating. Ghosting happens in romantic, platonic, even professional relationships. You refresh your inbox, you reread the last message, and eventually you start wondering, was I ever even real to them? And here's the shocking part. In another study done last year, researchers found that people who ghost often believe that they're being kind, doing it to spare the other person's feelings, not to hurt them. I'm Jourdan Travers. I'm a licensed clinical psychotherapist, and today we're unpacking what ghosting really says about the person who disappears, why it cuts so deep for the one left behind, and when ghosting someone is actually the right thing to do. When someone disappears, you don't just lose them. You lose the version of yourself you were when they made you feel seen. That's the pain of ghosting no one ever really talks about. Because being ghosted doesn't just hurt. It feels like confirmation that you're dispensable. It drags every insecurity, every old wound right back to the surface. And all that pain, well, is triggered simply because someone couldn't say, I'm not interested anymore. You start questioning everything. Was any of it real? Was I lied to the whole time? And for some people, that same pattern repeats not once, but over and over again. That's the sad reality. So let's pause. Because if you've ever ghosted or been ghosted, what comes next might surprise you. In 2024, researchers set out to understand the minds of people who ghost, not the ones who disappear after one message, but people who intentionally left someone hanging, someone they knew. They surveyed over 400 adults who had ghosted someone before, a love interest, a friend, even a coworker. And what they found was surprising. Most of these ghosters didn't see themselves as cruel or avoidant. They genuinely believed they were doing the right thing. One recurring belief among ghosters was, I thought avoiding a painful conversation was the more respectful thing to do. The research called this a pro-social intention. Ghosting not to harm, but to spare someone's feelings. But here's where it gets complicated. The people being ghosted, they didn't interpret it that way. They didn't feel protected. They felt erased. And that mismatch in perception, the difference between intention and impact, is what makes ghosting so painful. Let's look at what happens on the other side of ghosting. In a 2022 study published in the Journal of Social Psychology, researchers asked 80 people who had both ghosted and been ghosted to write about their experiences. They weren't anonymous survey clicks. They were raw, detailed narratives. And what emerged wasn't just miscommunication, it was grief. When coders analyzed these stories, a pattern stood out. People who had been ghosted consistently expressed more sadness, more hurt, and more psychological distress than those who did the ghosting. Their responses revealed a direct hit to their core needs: control, self-esteem, belonging, even the sense that they mattered at all. Ghosting didn't just end a connection, it made them question their own significance. Meanwhile, the ghosters, they reported emotions too, but theirs leaned toward guilt and relief, not devastation. This contrast is important because while the ghoster often walks away feeling like they spared someone's feelings, the ghostee is left to sort through an emotional wreckage, one they never expected to come. But before we move forward, if you learned something new from this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. So here's the hard question. Are there times when ghosting is actually the right thing to do? The short answer is yes, but only in specific situations, especially if what you're dealing with is manipulation, controlling behavior, emotional volatility, or safety concerns. Or if your boundaries are being pushed and you feel like the silence is the only form of protection left. But here's the truth. Even when it feels justified, ghosting still leaves damage behind. The key is not just asking, was I right to ghost? It's asking, did I communicate clearly before I disappeared? Because self-protection and accountability can coexist simultaneously. And silence isn't the only boundary you're allowed to set. So what do you do when ghosting is not justified? You pause and you say the thing. Not a monologue, not an apology tour, just enough to leave the door closed, but not slammed shut. Let's say you're feeling the urge to vanish on a potential love interest. If you've only texted a few times, you can say, hey, I don't think this is a match, but I wish you well. If you've been on a few dates, maybe try, thanks for your time, but I'm not feeling a connection. And if it was deeper, this relationship isn't working for me and I need to step away. I know this might hurt, but I wanted to be honest. Because here's what you're really giving them: a landing place, a reason they don't have to invent, and a version of an ending that doesn't leave them doubting their worth. It's not about being polite. It's about not making someone question that they matter or not. And if you're still untangling the silence someone left with you, or wondering why you keep ghosting people you care about, therapy can help you make sense of it. Not to assign blame, but to understand the pattern before it repeats itself again. I'm Jourdan Travers. I'm the clinical director of Awake Therapy, and I'm here when you are ready to take the next step. Until next time, bye.